Welcome, welcome, welcome. How is everybody doing? It's Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. We're almost through this year. How is everyone doing? I don't know what else to say about it. It's been a year, and as you can see by the tie, you know I got news for you. Oh man, and the news. What is happening? Oh my god, this world is in a weird place. But I suppose there is no better way to get into it than getting into it. So, let's start with our first topic, which occurs to me I forgot to switch. There we go. Our first topic. The UK government is launching an investigation into Rockstar Games after a group of employees was unceremoniously fired. Rockstar claims the employees engaged in gross misconduct after sharing confidential information outside the company. However, the fired employees and others have asserted it's clear the people were targeted for their efforts to unionize at the game studio. And this event proves, and that this event amounts to union busting. Look at me, I can write scripts, and sometimes they're worded. The investigation was prompted by MP Chris Murray and has been backed by UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. When confronted with the news, Rockstar President Sam Houser reportedly said, "What doesn't kill us makes us stronger," before he began laughing maniacally and kept repeating, "Hot coffee, hot coffee, hot coffee." The man has been rushed to a mental institution. But fact of the matter is, GTA 6 is still going to make a killing. Anyway, the Trump administration is weighing a new policy that would require an extensive check on the social media accounts of tourists before allowing them into the country. The proposal comes from the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency and aims to make this a mandatory part of the screening process. If implemented, travelers would be required to provide a list of social media accounts, email addresses that they have used over the last 10 years, phone numbers from the past 5 years, and other more invasive family and biometric data. During a press briefing, CBP Commissioner Rodney S. Scott explained that the idea came to him when his screeners were found to be regularly looking up profiles of hot young women. He decided their skills were being wasted on casual browsing and encouraged them to be more invasive. In preparation for the new policy, the CBP has opened up new positions and is aiming to hire individuals with a background in stalking. Notably, former convictions and restraining orders will not be considered disqualifying. Oh boy, like I said, it's a year. The State Department is, in our last piece of news, the State Department is reversing a Biden-era decision to use the Calibri font on official communications. Secretary of State Marco Rubio claims, by the way, this is Marco Rubio pictured here. I am told this is a picture-perfect recreation. Secretary of State Marco Rubio claims switching to Calibri achieved nothing except the degradation of the department's official correspondence, and he later went on to comment that it was, quote, "not among the department's most illegal, immoral, radical, or wasteful instances of DEIA." Yes, this is real. I haven't even made the joke yet. This is actually a thing that's happening. Anyway, former Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who was responsible for making the decision to switch to Calibri, was alerted to the policy change by a member of the press. He was heard laughing and yelling out, "Everybody take a shot, they did another stupid." And yes, this was, in fact, the best picture I could find of him in short notice. Oh, man. I swear, I'm going to have to start turning these news segments, like, doing these news segments for real. I don't know what else to do, because the jokes just are... It's hard not to make jokes about everything. It's all it all just needs to be made fun of. Oh, but that's where we're at. So let's see. I went through that actually a bit faster than I'd even expected I would. So another thing I was about to do a new segment on, but I did not. So the next two things, I'm not actually going to make this a topic, but I almost made it a news segment. I almost made it a topic, and I decided against both. I just feel like mentioning it. Oh, wait. Where do I have? Oh, I closed those topics. Never mind. I decided not to talk this week about the Paramount Netflix fight over Warner Brothers, mostly because, frankly, so much is going to happen in the next week. Like, talking about it now seems almost pointless because so much more is going to happen. However, there was one particularly goofball thing that I noticed, and yeah, this is why I felt like I shouldn't actually discuss it immediately, which is the part where Trump says if Netflix buys Warner Brothers, its market share could be a problem. Yeah, that's Trump saying market share could be a problem. Yep, we're in the Twilight Zone, people. Why that light? Is that gonna screw up anything? It doesn't fix anything either. Oh well. How about this one? Can that fix anything? Yeah, not really. Okay. I've got a green screen issue, and the only fix for it... Actually, wait. Will this... Hey, that fixes it. Okay. Let me find a USB cable I can plug in, and green screen issue solved. It's weird. I looked for it, and I didn't see any issues earlier, but then as soon as I go live, there it is. Where is the port? Okay, I have to turn this light off so I can find the USB port. There it is. All right, that fixes that. Hooray. Okay. So, oh, and I forgot to shrink this down. That'll do. Okay. So, yeah, I just thought this was too funny and had to highlight it, but I have a feeling Corbin and I will be talking about this next week. Oh, and in case it's not obvious, there is no Corbin this week. It is his week off. But he should be returning next week, as usual. All right. Let's see. So, fast forwarding past that to the other topic that just... Honestly, this should have been a news segment. It's not really that big or worth talking about, but it was here, and I saw this at literally like a couple minutes before I went live, and I didn't have time to write jokes. But apparently Twitter, because I'm not calling it X, has shut down the European Commission's ad account because, and this isn't the reason they give, but apparently they are claiming the ad account, or sorry, there are two reasons. The reason they are claiming is because the ad account apparently used an exploit, I'm not kidding, to artificially boost its reach. And according to them, the European Commission has not been using this account at all. It has apparently been a long dormant account, and they logged in, or somebody logged in, and used what they're calling an exploit to increase the reach of their post. Now, of course, that's silly because it's an ad account. And Twitter has been, well, Twitter under Elon Musk has been known to explicitly give extra reach to ad accounts. This is quite literally what they're for. I'm not even kidding. And strictly speaking, Twitter, even before Elon Musk, was doing the same thing. So it's not like this is news. But the more likely reason that they're shutting down the account is because the European Commission, the day before, fined Twitter $140 million. And highlighting the reason, let's see, to quote this Engadget post, the European legislative body claimed that X has a deceptive system when it comes to verified accounts, lacks transparency with its advertising repository, and doesn't provide effective data for researchers. In response, Elon Musk replied that the European Commission's post, or replied to their post, calling it bullshit. Okay, Chief. Sure. If you say so. So yeah, this, like, again, this just screams hilarity. But hey, it's amazing to watch as these people do the clown shoes thing. But okay. Anyway, let's see. On to, I hate to say it, but on to the short list of real topics. Actually, I'm gonna skip past that one and come back to it. Okay, so this is probably the one good news item of the week. And that is that Google and Apple are actually partnering up to do proper phone switching. So in theory, and when I say proper, let's air quote that because it's limited. But yeah, you will be able to switch from Android phones to iPhones and back again much more easily thanks to some changes that are being made in Android and iOS. Fundamentally, this is going to include things like switching. I believe there was a list here. Really? I'm sure there was more. Or a more extensive list. But basically, you'll be able to move things like contacts, your... it was in the other post. Yeah, so let's see. It will support many types of data, including contacts, calendar events, messages, photos, documents, Wi-Fi networks, passwords, and data from some third-party apps. Realistically, that one's probably not going to be too extensive at first. I have a feeling, though, what's probably going to happen is they'll introduce an API that allows an app to communicate with its other OS counterpart and basically create what I would assume is sort of a package that it can send across from one side to the other. It will work wirelessly, and yeah, basically that. This is good news. I mean, it's honestly, I don't think it's the biggest deal anymore. This would have been a much bigger thing, say like 5 years ago or more, but now I don't think a lot of people are doing like regular switching back and forth, or even switching basically ever. So it has less impact now, but I think it is good. There's obviously going to be times when people just need to be able to hop from one to the other, and this is helpful. One thing that does stand out about it to me is specifically the list of things that it allows for communication? Contacts. Chances are, I mean, certainly not all people, but a lot of people use Google to store their contacts, even if they're like avid iPhone users, because frankly, it's pretty good at it, and Apple's system is, I never found it to be particularly good. Then we get to calendar events. Kind of the same story. A lot of people stick with Google's calendar. They don't have to. And Apple actually does have an okay calendar from what I'm told. But again, not the greatest. Like, it's just kind of better to stick with Google's system on this. There are messages. This one's actually a pretty valid one. Though I think if we're talking about the United States, it matters. Outside of the US, probably not so much. Also, I kind of wonder what's going to happen when it's like iMessage versus regular messages. Because iMessage has a ton of extra metadata that's not necessarily going to transmit well over to sort of an RCS platform, so I'm not really sure what's going to happen with that. Photos, this is obviously something that they need to support, of course, but again, how many people are necessarily still keeping their photos in like whatever the base phone platform is, versus backing them up to anywhere else? I know plenty of people do. There are a lot of people who just buy their phone, and every few years they have to buy a larger storage size because their phone just keeps holding on to all of their photos and they just keep transporting them over. But I kind of think a lot of people have started switching to, let's just keep our photos in Google Photos, at least as a backup solution. There's a fair number of people who obviously are using other services, Dropbox, for example. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's good that this is a thing, but I kind of feel like it's almost doing people disservice having this support photo transfer, because people need to learn to start getting their photos off their phones and using other services to do it. Yeah, that's me taking the hardline stance. Let's see. Moving documents, great. I can't think of any real flaw in that argument. Moving Wi-Fi networks, yes, absolutely. For those that have never noticed this or gone through this, one of the absolute greatest features to have ever appeared on Android and iOS for that matter is moving of Wi-Fi networks between phones. I don't remember exactly when it was added to Android, but I remember setting up a brand new phone once, basically on the road, and just everywhere I went that I already had a Wi-Fi network, just instant connections. And it's like, oh my God, this is so much better than having to sit down and enter everything all over again, storing Wi-Fi passwords and plain text documents or anything like that. Like, not having to maintain a list of all your Wi-Fi networks is fantastic. Let's see. This also supports transfer of passwords. I really want to see how this one plays out, because Apple Keychain, I really have my doubts that Apple's going to fully want to open that up. Just call it a hunch. There's probably going to be some sticking points with that one. That being said, again, just to emphasize this on an even bigger level, people should not be using their platform provided password managers. Never use your OS provided platform or OS provided password managers, because I'm sorry, but one of these days you're going to use an OS that doesn't have access to that. And you will have to go through so much work dealing with that. It will suck. Instead, use anything that is cross-platform and has a decent chance of appearing on other platforms. Any password, not any password manager, but a lot of password managers support this. You're in a world of hurt if you ever try to switch away from something and you get locked in just because, oh, I use Apple Keychain and that doesn't work on Windows. Or if you use, let's say, Google Chrome, and one of these days you're like, oh, hey, I need to install Firefox for X number of reasons. And then you're just constantly going back and forth to the other thing just so you can look up your passwords. This is a miserable experience. Don't do it. Just get a proper password manager. You won't need to be able to move phones for this. Or you won't need the feature to move it across phones. You just need a proper password manager in the first place, and life is just better. So anyway, the fun news on this is the EU, or sorry, I guess the EC, the European Commission, who of course was popular in our last topic. They have taken credit for this and basically said, yep, it's because of us. We're super awesome, and the DMA, the Digital Markets Act, has done its job and forced the big giant tech companies to play nice. And look, I'm not disputing it. They accomplished what seems like the impossible. I have to again come back to, though, the point of, I don't think that this is making that big of a difference anymore. I don't believe that they're really appreciably changing the customer landscape. There aren't, in my opinion, that many people who are still switching, and I don't think it's really changing or incentivizing anyone to switch anytime soon. Not to say that it doesn't help. Again, it certainly does. It just, I don't think that this matters that much anymore. I think a lot of people tend to get onto a platform and they just don't feel inclined to move. It's not that they're locked in, it's that they just don't care. There was a time when I remember every couple of years, all of a sudden there was this little burst of movement as people were like, oh, hey, the really cool thing came out on Android. We're going to get an Android phone. And so, people would wait until their contracts ran out and then they'd hop phones. And then eventually the twist was, oh, hey, Apple now has this thing. Let's go back to iPhones. And you'd see people kind of just jumping back and forth. I'm sure they would have loved this back then. I don't think those people exist now. The enthusiasm for phone platforms has really just fallen off a cliff. Everything is eventually crabs. Yes, exactly. On a long enough timeline, evolution turns everything into a crab. And yeah, I mean, phone operating systems are there. Like, phone operating systems are kind of where desktop OSs were, 10 years ago, where they're done. Like, sure, they'll keep getting a few changes here and there. They're going to get some design changes that make them uglier. Hello, liquid glass. And certain bits of material. They're going to have little bits and pieces added or removed as time goes by, but for the most part, they're done. And there also aren't going to be any new ones. We know that. Like, there isn't going to be some new mobile platform popping up anytime in the near future that's realistically trying to take on iOS or Android. Like, that ship has sailed. They're established. There will be no new Windows Phone that steps in. There's not going to be any big new platforms. And the fact of the matter is, most people aren't really jumping to change the platform they're on. if you use one, you're happy with it because you built up muscle memory. You kind of know the little like pain points that you experience when the platform or something about it kind of sucks a little bit, but not that much. Yeah, we're there. It's over. So yeah, I'm not inclined to think that this is really changing all that much. But that's fine. It doesn't need to. OpenAI says hold their beer. They're drinking plenty of it. Let's be honest, they're drinking lots and lots of the beers. And probably the kind that leads to an early end of life. But hey, it is what it is. I was trying to make a drinking the Kool-Aid reference there, and it's I can tell it really didn't work. But now that I've explained that it was a Kool-Aid reference, I'm thinking the joke still doesn't land. Regardless, yeah. So again, this is good news. Like I'm not trying to poo-poo it. I'm just trying to set it where I think where the realistic standard actually is, which is, yeah, it's good, but it's not really changing that much. Let's see, and this is gonna feel like such a short show. Oh wait, did that not fix the? How about if I do that? Does that fix it? Not really. Wow. Why is there a spot like just right there? Yeah, it's like right exactly there. Oh. It was just okay. How about if I do gonna spend all my time trying to fix lighting issues. Does that solve it? No. Not even close. Can this be turned up? Oh, wow. Yes, it can. Okay. Whoa. Why did it just turn off? Oh, this stupid bug. Or not bug, but bad design. Okay. Still doesn't solve that, but how do we can replace you? That should kind of work, I think. Have we succeeded? We've succeeded. Hallelujah. Now I'm weirdly lit, so my arm just is bright white. But hey, it's what this is a podcast. You got to expect a lot of whiteness. Anyway, so couple of quick points, I guess. Let's see. You were on a Discord call with your sister Molly. Hope all is well. So, also, this isn't really much of a story or news item, but just quickly noting it. The YouTube dashboard for live streams has been changed. And it's, I did not think it was possible, but I hate it more. It's so bad. I mean, it's maybe a little prettier, I guess. But now, because of the way it works, it has to be, the window has to be even wider. Otherwise, stuff, stuff doesn't show up properly. Um, and it has to be a certain height, otherwise you can't fit like a few elements on the screen at the same time that used to be at least kind of close together. So they've somehow managed to completely ruin the Discord, or sorry, the YouTube dashboard more than it was already bad. I'm I in all sincerity, if I ever find the time, I am 100% going to write uh, a custom tool that fixes everything about the YouTube dashboard, because I do not like it on so many levels. Uh, oh wow, I just realized. Okay, nobody cares about this except me, but the color temperature of the lights that I have in here are all different. Okay, can I... How about if I switch that, at least turn that... No, that's still on brightness. How about... Okay. If we do that, can I get that to match this light? Not well. Oh well. It is what it is. We're just gonna have to deal with it. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to deal with it. I don't think anybody else cares. Okay. So the other programming note, which is a bit of an unfortunate note to make, but on to the final topic, because for real, I basically had news items. Kirby, Alyssa, you're coming into this late, but yeah, I really only had the news segment and then a couple of quickies, and finally I want to talk about this one. And this one I think deserves a lot more attention, because this is fundamentally the grossest thing that I think has happened on the internet in a long time. This is fundamentally horrifying. So, as reported by Engadget, based on some other reporting, Instagram is generating SEO bait headlines for its users' posts. Okay, so what does this mean? The subtitle actually kind of gives away enough of it. In the code for Instagram posts, they now have fields where they are generating titles and descriptions for each of the posts that will, when a search engine looks at the page, it will see this information. But regular people never see this unless they go looking at the actual code for the post. So basically, you can go searching for something on Google, and you may find a link to an Instagram post. Wait, sorry, I say Google, but this applies to basically all search engines. And it's it basically is trying to create SEO friendly titles and descriptions that pretty much says it all. That'll place high with Google's search results. So yeah, this is in my opinion, first off, appalling. Because just in the sheer obvious sense, it's using AI to look at the post, look at the content of it. If it's a video, as far as I understand, they are figuring out what the dialogue says in the video. They're scraping the video for text, things like that. Obviously doing the same with images, but they have a little less to work with there. And they're trying to figure out what the post is about. I think I'm suspecting that they probably also dig into like maybe the comments on the post. I'm not really sure. But yeah, they're basically just trying to figure out what is what is the content about this? Oh, and sorry, the origin of this reporting is 404 Media. Okay, so they provided an example of this, which was a post by Sam Chapman about a board game he created. And here is the post. So you can see it obviously has a very familiar layout. It kind of looks like Settlers of Catan, and but with some obvious differences. Anyway, the game is called Bloom Hunter. So yeah, that is the name of the game, Bloom Hunter, or rather Bloom Hunter the game. And it is a game about rare flowers and vast horizons. There you go. Pretty straightforward post. Apparently the content that was generated for this, it created a title that reads, Floramino is a cozy puzzle game where you arrange gardens as a traveling florist. That's wrong. And it has a subtitle that reads, the demo looks fun with charming visuals and strategic elements. Probably accurate, but maybe by accident. Anyway, apparently the name Floramino is an existing game that's on Steam. So yes, this thing screwed up on a absolutely meteoric level. It got everything wrong, except maybe the fact that it's about flowers. And, I mean, sure, the demo, I don't know if you'd call it a demo, but maybe. The demo does, in fact, look fun. And it has charming visuals and strategic elements. Those parts, I'm sure, are true. It's all the rest of it that's wrong. So, yeah, this is already just bad in the sense that it's going to just lie. It's going to make up stuff, and it's going to put it out there for Google, Bing, whoever else. Like, all the search engines are going to be picking up this title and that subtitle. They're going to have, they're literally there for the purpose of creating false information. Now, of course, I'm sure if you ask anyone at Meta whether or not they're doing this to create false information, they would say, oh no, AI is AI. Sometimes it makes mistakes. Whoops. That's not untrue. That part is not untrue. They may not have intended to create false information, but the fact is they are. They are literally generating heaps of lies. Now, granted, some of it is true, and we'll come back to that. I'm going to come back to that shortly. But first, let's talk about the ones that aren't true. They're creating heaps and heaps of lies, which are literally going to do nothing but like cloud up search results. They're literally going to make Google search results worse. Meta is actively doing something for that can have only the result of destroying search results. Think about what that means. This is actively harming multiple other businesses. It is intentionally and knowingly harming other businesses. It would be the equivalence of, let's say, registering a bunch of phone numbers just so you could put them in the phone book, but you register them under a bunch of names of existing people, for example. Or at least matching a bunch of last names and then using randomly chosen first names. All you'd be doing is making the phone book less useful. And I know I'm using phone book, a reference that literally no one's used a phone book in a decade, so I'm using an outdated reference here. But that's the point of this. They're literally harming the actual function of search engines by doing this. I'm going to go on record now as saying Google should be suing the living out of Meta. Like, this is intentional, knowing harm aimed at other businesses. A business that, by the way, Meta and Google have at various times been at odds with each other, and Meta was very clear about trying to inhibit Google's search business in the past. This is something that they're doing to harm Google. And I think they know that. I think they're very aware that they're doing it. They're harming users in the process. In my opinion, this is something that Google should be basically, one, I think they should be suing Meta. Two, I think that since this is basically a willfully malicious act, I think the correct answer is just to stop indexing Instagram. Do that. Stop indexing Instagram entirely. Watch as Meta reverses this policy tomorrow. That's it. There you go. This is a pretty knowing, willful act of or a maligned act, and it is obviously in violation of Google's terms of service, and Google has every right to choose not to index a company. So stop indexing Instagram. There you go. Problem solved. And I really hope Google does that, because we need to see stuff like this at least somewhat slowed down, if not stopped entirely. Let's just scroll back up there. So, like I said, that is discussing the things where what this generates is false, like just outright, completely inaccurate, false silliness. What about in the instances where it's not? I actually have a take on that too, which is one, very unsurprisingly, gross. They just should not be doing this anyway. But two, what strikes me as very, very salient here is they're effectively also, even when what they are trying to do is, even when the AI gets it right, they're lying on behalf of users. A user could post something with the intent of it not to be clickbaity. This system exists specifically for the purpose of making a post clickbait. So it's going to put in or phrase content in a way so that it becomes clickbaity. So no matter how much a user might want to keep something on the level and not post something that is incendiary or misleading or dishonest or just baity in general, then Instagram is going to do it for them. They're taking the will away from the person that posted. Like, the person who posted may or may not have had any specific intentions, but Meta is taking their choice away in this matter and turning that content into something that is going to be baity. So users have, this is the fundamental, users have lost control over their content. Like, you already lost some control. That's a thing. If you're posting to a social network, to some extent the social network has some control over the content. They don't necessarily own it, but at a bare minimum they have rights to use it in various ways, or at least represent it to other users, because you're posting it on a social network. Obviously, that's the intent. However, in this instance, what Meta is doing is they're taking your content and deciding whatever you intended to use this for, however you intended to display it, we are going to change what your intention is. We are going to decide for you how we're going to present it. And we're going to decide for you how we can use it to get more people to our site. It's no longer for you at that point. It's for them. And you don't get a choice in the matter. There's no opt out. This is not something users can opt out of. So you're forced, basically at not literally at gunpoint, but metaphorically at gunpoint, you're being forced to give up any sort of control over the content once you post it. It's going to have a title on it. It's going to have a description on it, neither of which you choose, neither of which you control, neither of which you have any input on. That's it. This is worst timeline kind of stuff. And I question at one point, like, is it possible that this could become illegal? As a matter of fact, it is. In fact, it's highly likely that this becomes illegal. Let me tell you how. There's a fun law that dictates that you can't post certain types of things that are sponsored content without clearly disclosing that they're sponsored content. And it's generally presumed that you have to have some sort of appropriate, like, no misleading statements associated with it. The reality is, if this AI sees something, and you might have proper disclosures on the post itself, but if the AI sees this and makes a headline that is intentionally misleading, that is intentionally dishonest, then you are the person who is going to end up getting targeted for this. You, the poster, will be targeted for the fact that they created a title that might be lying to people. You can now actually be held liable until you go to court and say, I literally didn't do this. I have no way to prove it, but I don't know how there's a title in Google that says this. Now, obviously, since this has been documented and people know it's a thing, there is at least proof out there that it is a problem, and maybe, just maybe, that's something that holds up in court. I assume it would, because I think a lot of people will recognize that this is a problem, but it's also something not everyone's going to know about. And I don't expect a lot of Instagram influencers to know about this. They're not going to think about it or care. They just make their content, they post it, they do their ad sales, they do their sponsored posts. And what does that amount to? At the end of the day, they're just doing the part they can control. They're not going to know that if I don't know, if a shoe brand comes to them, some small shoe brand comes to them and says, hey, we want to sponsor you to do these posts showing off shoes, and a title ends up getting generated off of your posts about their shoes that says, I don't know, I'm just going to make something up. Maybe it says, oh, actually, I just realized another way that this could be even worse. Maybe it says something to the effect of, like, maybe it sees that they're comfortable, and maybe somebody makes a comment about, oh, does it help with some condition or something? And as a result, maybe the title that ends up getting generated is something about, oh, it helps with, or here's the perfect shoes for, or check out my perfect shoes for curing athlete's foot. I don't know. I'm making something up. If the shoes don't do that, you now have a post that has a blatantly dishonest title that's going to show up in search engines and bring people to your post thinking that that's what they're about to find. And just because your post doesn't have anything that says anything about athlete's foot, they're already there under the presumption that it has something to do with athlete's foot, that it's going to solve or cure athlete's foot. And wow, why did my brain jump to athlete's foot? It was literally just the only thing I could think of that was shoe related, aside from plantar fasciitis, which actually would have been a better example. But nevertheless, I love how the comments also just suddenly caught up. That was very weird. Streamlabs, you got a lot of stuff to fix. Anyway, so this is insane to me. This is absolutely insane. This is the sort of thing, this is darkest timeline material if there ever has been. Meta, I think, is going to... I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I think this is the spot where the government is likely to eventually have to regulate. Because there's no question, like, this is going to create criminal situations. And it's only a matter of time before somebody also figures out some clever ways to trick the algorithm into generating maybe hateful titles or racist or disparaging titles, even while the post itself is innocent. Give it time. People are smart. They'll find ways to make the worst things happen. And it's, I think, very notable. There is no legal protection for Facebook on this. So the legal protections that I forget the name of it, but the section like 502, whatever it is, the clause that everyone was arguing about a few years ago that gives protections to social media companies so that they can allow user-generated content as long as they make a reasonable effort to police it and clean up anything that gets posted that's not supposed to be there. Yeah, all of that stuff, that is legal because it's user-generated and they're just reposting it and policing it. The point at which they're using AI to modify what you post, that is now them. No matter what, if something illegal gets posted in anywhere in the page, including as a title or anything like that, if any of it gets posted anywhere in the page, then Meta is the one that is legally vulnerable to that. It is not user-generated content at that point. It is not something that a user posted. Therefore, they are the one who is vulnerable if any of this goes to court. So I'm all for this. I want to see Facebook go down in flames over this kind of stuff because they're begging for it to happen. This is indisputably something that makes them legally vulnerable, and I love that. So cool. Keep it up, Meta. Keep it up. I can't see any way that this does not end with Meta paying a astronomical fee to probably settle lots of lawsuits. And I hope that's the direction it goes. I want to see lots and lots of people posting stuff that ends up getting some dishonest title. They can somehow in some way show any sort of damage as a result of this. Even if it's made up emotional damage, go for it. Please. I want to see it so bad. So, yeah. That's where I stand on this. I think that this is so insanely evil and stupid in the same breath. They're and it's got to be expensive. Let's not forget that part. Facebook or Meta, whatever, is using a lot of AI processing power across. I don't know if this is on every post. I don't believe. Uh, I'm assuming it's only, or I'm guessing it's only probably for posts that have at least some amount of engagement. Like they're gonna have engagement anyway, just because like maybe the account has a decent number of followers and something like that. Let's see. But being that they're doing this at all, it's got to be expensive. It's got to be costing them a lot of money. And they're doing it again just so that they can try to bait people into using a service that, let's be honest, they're not getting new users on anymore. I'm sure somebody out there will make an argument that Instagram is still big and gaining users. I don't think that's true. I've had this hunch for a while. I think Instagram is going the same direction as Twitter and Facebook in that sense. Like, they have their user base. It's a ton of people who have no interest in moving. So their user base is stable, or stable enough. They're not going to lose more people in any like massive number over the next few weeks or months. And of course, they are getting new accounts from time to time, like new brand accounts, and yeah, sure, a few people who are just coming online or just finding their way to Instagram for the first time. There are new people showing up, but I think at large, Instagram is losing people faster than they're gaining them. At least in the sense of like people who consume content. And that leads me back to, I think that this is Instagram's desperate attempt to try to bring new people or return people back to the service. But it's desperate. Like, it's just trying to fix the issue of losing regulars as it is. And Instagram is obviously losing people to TikTok and various other social networks. Like, obviously, there's a new breed of social networks out there that's I'm just gonna say smaller, and maybe not aimed at gaining quite as many people, but that's sort of what right now a younger generation is preferring. Just like honestly, just like when Facebook and MySpace were happening at their particular times, people preferred those and liked going towards them in large part because it was the new place. It wasn't where everyone else already was. People went to MySpace because nobody wanted to go to Friendster. Nobody wanted to go to another GeoCities website. Nobody wanted to go to these places that kind of had lost. Everyone was already at those other places, so going to the new place was kind of desirable. And eventually, MySpace was the place that was overflooded, and so everyone went to Facebook. Eventually, Facebook got overflooded, and so they started going to Instagram. So Facebook bought Instagram. Then people started going to other places, and Facebook at least tried buying some of them or killing them by virtue of like copycatting all of their features. But we're at the point where I think Facebook isn't allowed to buy anything new, and even if they were, it doesn't really matter because everyone's trying to get away from them. Or anyone who wants to get away from them is trying pretty hard to get away from them and stay away from them. Like, I haven't used, or aside from checking, I'd say like twice a year, I basically don't go to Facebook anymore. Um, and likewise, Instagram, the only time I ever end up on Instagram is when somebody posts something and I basically need to check, like, is this post okay? That's pretty much the only time I end up on Instagram. Um, and otherwise, yeah, I I haven't gone there in forever. I've Various other friends I've talked to don't spend any time on these sites. It's funny because that was always the thing that Facebook was supposed to be, was the service where you keep up with your friends, and everyone I know is like, yeah, no. The feed is useless. We don't see our friends' posts anymore. We just see a bunch of ads and like um um like boosted content from companies. So it's just not worth being there anymore. And that's how you end up with a situation where that Instagram's in now, where they aren't getting those people, so they need to try to drag them back in, kicking and screaming by basically ruining search results. So yeah, I do not have any respect for this. I think they're doing a whole lot to sort of ruin the internet. So yeah. Yeah, there's my position. I I think I think Meta needs to be sued for this extensively, and I think Google should probably just delist them along with everybody else. I would love to see Bing, Google, and any other search engine just look at Instagram and say, you know what? Nah, we're done with you. We're just gonna take you out. We're gonna delist all of Instagram for a week. Let's see how Facebook responds to that. And if they don't fix their problem, we'll delist them longer, and we'll just keep them delisted until they stop doing this stuff. I don't know if it'll happen, but I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. That's it. I really want to see this become the end, or become the stupid hill that Instagram dies on. Let's see. So anyway, did anyone have any other topics worth hitting? Because I've run out of the ones that I had prepared, and I'm not really sure that there's a whole lot else from this week to go into. There was a lot of AI stuff that, frankly, I don't have a lot of opinions on. And other than that, it was pretty much a whole lot of Netflix and Paramount drama. Which, again, just to reiterate what I said earlier, I totally would have talked about that, but there's so much that has already happened. And I think so much more that's going to happen. Like, the amount that happened in such a short time. Android XR. But did anything really happen? Look, I'll freely admit, I didn't end up watching that video. Well, I watched part of it. The one that was posted by, was it you or Carson? Now I don't remember. But I watched part of it, and it just felt infomercially, and I caught, I don't know, it was like the last probably 8 or 9, 10 minutes, something like that. And nothing happened in that time. They said, oh, hey, we've got some new-ish things added, but okay. And they didn't really have actually that much new stuff. Or rather, I didn't see anything new in there. So yeah, I don't know. Was there something really appreciably new in there? And also, well, yeah, that's the question. Was there really anything new? Because I didn't see anything. Let's see. In totally separate and unrelated news, also, I'm getting really angry at wireless keyboard. I really like this wireless keyboard. It's the Logitech Mini, or Logi Mini, whatever. And I've been really happy with it, but in the last week or so, it started this thing where it just takes, like, if I haven't been typing on it for, like, I don't know, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, something like that, all of a sudden like when I start typing, it's like it needs to reconnect, and it's driving me insane. It takes several seconds to reconnect. It doesn't have a very large buffer to it. And sometimes because I type something really fast and then switch windows, the thing I type goes to the wrong window, which that would be annoying enough if it's just typing like any regular line of text. It's so much more annoying when it's Command W or Command Q, and all of a sudden the app that I'm working in closes a tab or shuts down, and it's like, I didn't want to do it to that app. I wanted to do it to the one before it. Why is this a thing? Not too much. Yeah, okay. All right, so here is their blog post, just to skim over it. Let's we'll zoom it in a little bit. Okay, so more helpful features to the headset, releasing new updates. To expand your workspace, we're introducing PC Connect. It allows you to link your Windows PC to your headset, then pull in your desktop or a window from your computer and place it side by side with native apps from Google Play. Okay, so I'm guessing this wasn't already a feature, which seems kind of surprising, but okay. I mean, that's useful. It's good to have. Sort of a shame it's specifically Windows PC, because you could do this actually pretty easily on a Mac. But okay. So this lets you stay productive or play PC games. I'm skeptical there's going to be a whole lot of playing of PC games like this, but sure, we'll go with it. All right. Also making it easier to bring your headset into other parts of your life. With travel mode, you can turn a cramped flight into a personal cinema or immersive workspace with a view that stays stable even when you're in motion. Again, was this not already part of it? I don't know, but travel mode is definitely one of those things I thought it was already there. But okay, sure. And the reason I think the reason I would assume these things were already there is just because it's the stuff that the Vision Pro had a problem with, what, a year ago? It's the stuff that everyone was like, oh yeah, this needs to be fixed in the Vision Pro. Like, just fix it there and then the problem is solved. Like, yeah, we need it in those. It feels like it was obvious that the Vision Pro needed to have it, and I can't imagine that you would come out with this product without looking at your competitor and going, oh, where were the pain points for them? What did they screw up? And literally number one on that list would be, okay, we need travel mode, and for desktop or screen extension feature, we need to be able to have the ability to pick up windows and put them in our virtual space. Like, those are the two most obvious things. I feel like that's the stuff you literally have to have on day one. But okay, to help you stay connected to your connected while you're using your headset for video calls, you can now create your likeness, a realistic digital representation of your face that mirrors your facial expressions and hand gestures in real time. This allows others to see you authentically while you're using your Android XR headset for video calls, making your interactions feel natural and personal. Likeness starts rolling out in beta, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Um, okay, so here is their video of travel mode, which, all right, yeah, that's kind of what I would expect. I'm assuming what it's doing is using the vision to do your tracking, as opposed to using like gyroscopes or GPS or anything like that. Because a plane can obviously just turn various directions, and it can't discern when the plane is turning versus when you're turning your head. But if it's looking at the seats in front of you, it can tell, oh, here's an object. I'll just track where that object appears to be. I wonder if it's doing something crazy like mapping out the space you're in, because it could do that. It has the cameras to do that, the same way as one of the things that was named Project whatever. I can never remember the names of their projects anymore, but they did have one for mapping out spaces, and this seems like it would be a place where that'd be useful. Okay, and likeness. Let's see, how close do they get? Okay, if that's what it actually looks like, that's I'll give it this. That's creepy and uncanny with how good it would look. I'm sure it does cross into Uncanny Valley at least a little bit, but okay, you know, cheers. That's seems cool. Let's see, building the XR ecosystem. For AI and XR to be truly helpful, hardware needs to fit seamlessly. The AI glasses. Working with Samsung and partners, Gentle Monster and Warby Parker to design stylish blah blah blah. First, there are AI glasses designed for screen-free assistants, which use built-in speakers, microphones, and cameras to let you chat naturally with Gemini, take photos, and get help. And then there are display AI glasses, which add an in-lens display that privately shows you helpful information right where you need it. Okay, yeah, that's all redundant. First glasses will appear next year. All right, that's not new. Wired XR glasses. So far, that's definitely not new. Today we shared a first look at Project Aura from XReal, the first real Android XR device in this category. Okay, so these are the ones that blend real world with other visuals and graphics. Equipped with a 70-degree field of view and optical see-through technology, these devices layer digital content directly onto your view of the physical world. This gives you massive private canvas to place multiple windows, allowing you to take your workspace or entertainment with you without blocking out your surroundings. They are perfect for practical everyday uses too, like following a floating recipe video while you cook, or see step-by-step visual guides anchored to an appliance you are fixing. We look forward to sharing more, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so all right, so what is he doing here that's interesting? How is this XR? This is just using... That's just like desktop extension kind of stuff. That's not XR. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna go with they don't actually have a product there yet. If they did, they'd be showing off something more. Okay, so, and by the way, so what I mean when I say this is an XR, strictly speaking, like some people say this is XR because it you can see through to the real world, but you are painting some sort of interface over top of it. To some people, that is XR. In my opinion, this is just heads-up display. This is effectively, I mean, how they're accomplishing it is different, but it's effectively not really any different than having Google Glass, where you had a reticle that was like right up here in front of your eye, or well, just above your eye line, and you could look at it and see something painted effectively over the real world. Now in that case it was translucent, see-through, versus this where you're looking at a screen. But to me, that's not really any different. Like, it's the outcome is the same, even if the way you got there is different. So to me, this isn't XR. My perspective of XR is, let's just say hypothetically, the easiest example is the classic Google Maps navigation. You step off the subway, you're wearing your headset, and as you're walking along, first off, somebody is absolutely going to steal the headset off of your head. But setting aside that reality, you step off the subway, you start walking along. XR is going to look at your surroundings, look at what's there, and say, oh, you're headed to such and such location. First, take the stairway, and then it lights up a path to your stairway. It probably, like, realistically, it'll probably just put like an arrow pointing the way you need to go. But in a lot of cases, what it like really good XR is what it's going to do is light up your path, like actually draw on what it sees to be the ground, like basically a line or red carpet or something that tells you, oh, go this direction. That to me is where you actually have XR. And I get it, it's not the easiest thing to do, but if you want to be able to call this stuff like blending reality, that's the line you have to get to. Also, I'm gonna kind of go at them a little hard and say, if you're gonna talk about, the example they used up here was okay, so they said practical everyday uses too, like following a floating recipe video while you cook, or seeing a step-by-step visual guides, or sorry, I added the word a in there, seeing step-by-step visual guides anchored to an appliance you are fixing. You're kind of there, if what it is at least reacting to the thing that you're looking at in some way. But I feel like it's dubious to really call it XR until it's like drawing somewhere for you, oh, here are the screws you need to remove, or giving you some sort of context in the world that you're seeing, not just anchoring a thing to it. Anchoring helps, that gets you part of the way, but it's not really there until you actually reach the point of saying, all right, here's a thing, and we're actually going to interact with it. To me, XR doesn't happen until you have interaction. Okay, so working together with developers, and this is, I think, basically where I tuned in. And really all I got from what I watched was Developer Preview 3. They were talking about that, and that was kind of their big talking point. So, okay, I mean, they announced a few things. It wasn't completely a dead end thing, and yeah, you know, a couple of these things like the likeness feature look pretty good. Without having watched the actual presentation, I don't know how much they showed, but I'm assuming it was probably a little more than this. But you know, if the quality is consistently what they're showing off here, then all right. I kind of buy that this. I kind of buy that this is probably better than like Apple's version of it. But that, yeah, you know, that's a thing where I think Apple and Google are going to leapfrog each other a few times before, I'm guessing, Google will pull ahead. And then Google will stay ahead for a year or two and then decide that they need to do something different and they'll ruin it. But we'll see. Other than that, I don't know. So the XR stuff, not into it. The fact that I'm assuming didn't already have travel mode is a little weird, but hey, they got it in and it's not that long after the event. So cheers. All right. Or, well, it's not long after the product came out and was available for purchase. You know what? I won't hold that against them. The more I think about it, Android XR, or the first, sorry, not Android XR, but the first thing from Samsung, that first headset, it's, yeah, it's new. They get to have a 2-3 month pass to get in to fill in the features that they may have missed on day one. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I think that's about the extent of the thoughts I have here. Was there anything else? And while I ask that question, I will quickly, and if there's anyone who has any other topics that they want to highlight, by all means. But I will also quickly do a little bit of self-promotion. I've slightly updated my website. It's a little bit closer to not looking like it's broken HTML. So that happened. Also, I did have this partially up last week, but now I have updated it, and I have basically kind of a explanation plus partial first impressions on the Anti-Gravity A1. Also, very notably, down at the bottom, I should probably point out, if you're at all interested in buying the Anti-Gravity A1, I have links to pick it up from the Anti-Gravity store, Adorama, or B&H. And if there's anyone else selling it, I know there's one other company selling it, but I don't feel inclined to direct people to that company for assorted reasons. So I'm just going to conveniently ignore them. Yeah, if you're at all curious about the drone and want to check it out, hit that post and by all means give it a read. I will be doing some more cleanup on this post in the very near future, and I have a couple of other posts in the works that will be joining it soon on the site. So yeah, it's there. Plus, I have also added does it not? Oh, what the heck? The link is broken. Why is that link broken? Okay, I also have RSS for the site, but for some reason the RSS link is broken. So how on earth is that broken? It shouldn't be. I swear I even checked it. I'm like 95% certain I checked that. Is it possibly just broken on that one page? Nope, it's broken on all of them. Okay, yep, it is in fact broken. I don't believe it. Okay, so I'm gonna fix that and re-upload this soon. I am such a chump for screwing up this dumb little thing. Anyway, there will in fact be RSS support on these pages within the next or within say 10 minutes of this site or of this stream going down. As I've actually almost got it fixed now. Okay, so I fixed the code. I'll make sure to do a proper update of it later. Okay, so that's all good. We will, just for giggles, we're gonna live test this. That's how we roll. Yep. Okay, so that's fixed there. Back here. Yep. Mouse over, make sure that it actually shows the right things. Yep, it's fixed on that page. And I'm sure it'll be fixed in this article. Yay, hooray. Okay, so good times. Yeah, so as always, well, okay, nothing else has been mentioned, and as I turn to check the Discord, I don't see anybody there with a with anything in that channel either. So I think I'm gonna go with it is probably a good time to wrap it up. I managed to somehow turn this into an hour and 30, which is impressive given the very short list of topics that I actually had to work with. Let's see. Oh, just for the sake of complete show notes, I'm going to add the link in my... Oops, wait. Why is that what it grabbed? And so many weird things happening lately with this keyboard. Okay. Anyway. Thanks everyone for coming by, hanging out, and being part of the conversation. As always, if you'd like to support the channel, there are links down below to Cash App, Streamlabs, and Patreon. And of course, a link to the website that I just had showing on screen moments ago. And there, if you take a look at the recommendations link up at the top, I do have a page of products that are recommended. And those products happen to have links to Amazon, and very, very soon we'll have links to some other sites. If you click through those links and add anything to your shopping cart and should happen to buy through those, I get a cut of those profits, and I appreciate that. You people are champions for that. Anyway, so let's see. What else? Oh, and of course, huge thanks to supporters of the channel. Alyssa, David, Diablo, Austin, and Carson. Y'all are awesome. My brain is losing track of anything else to mention. So with that, and of course I will be back this weekend with some game streams. Should be, I'm sure, a lot of Overwatch. A new season just started yesterday, so there will be things happening. And oh boy, do I have some comments to make about the new hero that's now in the game. I have a few comments to make about some of the changes to game modes. I have a lot to say about some changes they made to aim assist. So yeah, I'll probably be babbling a lot about that on Saturday. All right, anyway, with that, I hope everyone has an excellent rest of their week, and I will catch you all in the next one. Good night, everybody.